On November 24, 1971, a man in a dark suit parachuted from a commercial airliner into the freezing rain over the Pacific Northwest. He took $200,000 in ransom money with him. To this day, it remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in American history. The physical evidence he left behind on Northwest Orient Flight 305 was sparse. Investigators recovered a black clip-on tie, a matching tie clip, and 2 parachutes, one of which had 3 of its shroud lines severed. How does a person hijack a jet, successfully extort a small fortune, and disappear into thin air? The hijacker, known as Dan Cooper, succeeded by targeting 3 specific oversights in 1970s aviation security and engineering. The first opening was the trust airlines placed in their customers. On Thanksgiving Eve 1971, at Portland International Airport, passenger security screening did not exist. Approaching the Northwest Orient counter, Cooper purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle using cash. He gave the name Dan Cooper, and the agent handed him a boarding pass. No one asked to see a driver's license or any form of identification. Carry-on luggage went unchecked, allowing Cooper to walk into the passenger cabin carrying a black attaché case that concealed a makeshift bomb. It contained 8 red cylinders wired to a large battery. The entire operation relied on this anonymity. The system assumed passengers meant no harm, allowing a hijacker to take his seat with a weapon in his lap. Sitting in seat 18E at the back of a plane, Cooper ordered a bourbon and 7-Up. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a handwritten note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. Assuming it was a phone number, Schaffner dropped the note in her purse. Cooper leaned in and whispered that he had a bomb. Following his instructions, she relayed the threat to the pilots, keeping the other 35 passengers in the dark. The pilots radioed Cooper's demands to the ground. He wanted $200,000 in negotiable American currency and exactly 4 parachutes. This diagram illustrates the tactical logic behind the 4 parachutes. By requesting 2 primary and 2 reserve chutes, Cooper implied he intended to take a civilian hostage with him when he jumped. He weaponized the threat of collateral damage. Fearing for the safety of their crew, the FBI couldn't risk supplying dummy or sabotaged gear. They had to deliver functional parachutes. With his demands met, Cooper released the passengers in Seattle. The jet was refueled and took off again, heading toward Mexico City with a planned stop in Reno. Cooper targeted this specific flight because Northwest Orient operated the Boeing 727-100. The aircraft featured a unique rear design, making it the ideal getaway vehicle. Once in the air, he ordered the crew to lock themselves inside the cockpit. This cross-section shows how isolating the pilots gave Cooper unobserved control over the empty cabin. Left alone, he manually unlocked the rear air stair. Driven by gravity, the stairs lowered directly beneath the tail, shielded from the engines, providing a clear path into the night sky. He had turned a standard boarding mechanism into a custom-built escape hatch. At 11:02 p.m., Flight 305 touched down at Reno Tahoe International Airport. The aft air stair was still deployed, dragging a shower of sparks across the tarmac. Local police and FBI agents immediately established a perimeter. A bomb squad eventually boarded the aircraft, only to confirm that the cabin was empty. He had plunged into a brutal environment. Jumping over southwest Washington, Cooper fell through a moonless night and freezing rain toward miles of dense forest and mountainous terrain. The sheer scale of the wilderness rendered a massive FBI ground search useless. Over the following decades, authorities interviewed thousands of suspects and analyzed dozens of fingerprints. Yet, the true identity and ultimate fate of the hijacker remain unknown. The crime left a permanent mark on aviation, leading to mandatory baggage screening and the installation of exterior locks, known as Cooper vanes, to prevent aft doors from opening in flight. D.B. Cooper endures as an American legend because he functioned as a systems hacker. He identified a narrow window in the machinery of commercial flight, stepped through it, and disappeared as the industry overhauled its security to ensure it would never happen again.